I mean, I kind of want to ask Kevin if you don't mind talking about the podcast.
I
want to talk about the sea shanty band you went to see last night.
Yeah.
What?
I went to see the Longest Johns perform live in at the Middle East upstairs in Boston, which is sort of a small, like the second level of Rock Band. It's like the second, not Rock Band. It's like the second level of Guitar Hero, like OG Guitar Hero,
all right.
where you've made it to a very small club.
Guitar Hero is specifically the Aerosmith expansion.
The sea shanty expansion.
Yeah. The one that's just 4 microphones as a peripheral.
That would be such a good game. Hold on, sorry. I know what you're talking about. I would love, because Guitar Hero's been talking about, like, now that they've been rebought, like, we got to bring out the franchise again, and that's the way to do it. Sea shanty / like a barbershop quartet game.
Ooh.
Fucking shit.
Did you ever play Karaoke Revolution?
Yes.
Maybe one time. Kayla was immediately yes.
Dude, Karaoke Revolution was sick.
Well, that one had the 1 week by Bare Naked Ladies in it, right? Because I memorized every word and could perfect that on Karaoke Revolution.
Damn.
I was very good.
My song was Coming Clean by Hilary Duff.
Those are vastly different.
Yeah, that was my jam for.
I was the during Rock Band. I was the guy who was like, well, I guess since no one else is doing the vocals for this Fall Out Boy, this ain't a scene, it's an arms race. I guess I'll do it, and then I would know every word.
If no one will step up for this, I guess I'll have to.
I guess I kind of know what Patrick's vocals are.
I was gonna say the dude from Fall Out Boy is literally there, and Chad shoves him out of the way.
I guess.
Well, if no one else wants to do it, I think I know this.
I mean, you do it all the time. I'm giving you a break. Sit down, Pete Wentz. You shut up. Why don't you go flash your dick on MySpace again, Pete Wentz?
Ooh,
Whoa.
I have a dramatic Fall Out Boy story since we're shooting the shit.
Nice.
Sure. Why don't let's see Fall Out, and then we'll come back to sea shanties.
Yes.
What's your
Did
Fall
I
Out Boy
tell?
story?
Have I told you this, Chad?
What's that?
If you don't recognize it by me saying a Fall Out Boy story, then I haven't told you.
No.
But I used to draw like Fall Out Boy fan art in high school.
Oh.
And I would post it on LiveJournal. And Pete Wentz saw it and he stole my art and put it on shirts.
No.
And I had to go to a lawyer.
Oh my god.
And I almost had to sue Fall Out Boy in high school, but then they gave me $500. And then in college, I saw the shirts at an FYE and got really embarrassed.
Amazing.
And this is the first public telling of that story because I've been embarrassed by it for years. And like
amazing. It's
not good art. So and I've seen it on eBay before, but it's not good art. But it's high school art.
Find it for us because
I haven't been able to find it the past few years. I found it in college, and then that's it.
If you're listening, you have a Fall Out Boy shirt that you think is in the style of a young Kayla Cline. Our guest for today's episode, please mail us. You might have a collector's item.
Yeah, it's like little cartoon boys. Yeah.
Kayla, your art is incredible, and I love your art so much. But when you said made it as a teenager and posted it on LiveJournal, I immediately thought the how to draw anime boy.
No, it's not. It's not anime style. It's not. Like it was. I left the anime style behind in middle school. Okay?
Wow.
But this was like little cartoon dudes because I was really influenced by Gorilla's art at the time. Yeah. So it was like really cartoony looking dudes with big ears. So
I'm sure I understand why Pete Wentz, was like, I want that. That's mine, and I'm gonna put it on shirts. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we're just more like media literate now, but I can't imagine the thought process of, someone did art of the thing I made. Better make money off of it and steal it.
I know. It's weird because I remember at the time I was like, what? And then the lawyer was like, oh, well, typically they just give you a little bit of money anyway. So there's probably not much I could do about it. But he got me $500 and I immediately went and blew it all at Hot Topics. So money is a circular journey. You know what I mean? Like
you kept it in rotation. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So many bracelets. You're just covered in bracelets.
Oh, you know it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I want to find that so bad. I was a Ride or Die Fall Out Boy fan. But Kevin also,
oh yeah. Well,
yeah,
my Fall Out Boy,
not
which
as cool as
my Fall Out Boy, which is the Longest Johns, a sea shanty band from Bristol, England, came to Boston on their American tour last night. And they were awesome. Did they begin with Santiana? You know they began with Santiana.
I don't even know Santiana. Is that
Me
is that like the go-to? Like every sea shanty band does Santa Ana?
Listen, the Venn diagram that contains the Goosebumps and sea shanties, like those two fandoms, everyone in those two fandoms right now is going nuts when I said Santiana. Santiana is an incredibly bold opener.
I keep thinking it's like the sea shanty version of Sublime Santeria. Like just the go-to that every cover band knows, every reggae ska band knows. And everyone's like, yeah, Santeria, Santa.
Yeah, you're not far off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. They did some Stan Rogers songs. I don't know how up you are on your Canadian folk.
You could just be making up names.
I know.
Yeah, sounds Canadian.
They're just four lovely men singing songs with beautiful harmonies and playing instruments and reminding me of a deep longing for the sea that I don't actually have. The sea is terrible.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, like, Kevin, you and I have been playing Sea of Thieves with our co-host Paul and our friend Josh Howell, and you weren't busting out the sea shanties too much, but you were playing that accordion a lot.
I don't have in the business, I'd say I don't have what they call pitch. I don't know what notes to sing, which I hear is key for a lot of songs. I do have volume. I just don't have pitch. So
you have a song in your heart.
Yeah, you have soul.
Yeah, I like to spare people sometimes because they're not ready for my sound on a lot of occasions. It's more avant-garde.
Okay, all right. I was picturing more like the dwarves from The Hobbit, just kind of doing that like low baritone hum,
like mountains deep and caverns cold
deep.
or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, yeah, that is my absolute jam, but I'm not really equipped to sing like with people because that's hard, right? Like matching harmonies and singing along. I just can't do it. It's too much work.
Kevin, I'm gonna throw this out here right now, and also listen, Kayla, you're invited, but I think you might also abstain once you hear what the pitch is. Kevin,
yes.
You and I are gonna start a dwarven barbershop quartet.
No.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
No, it sounds like Kayla's in. It sounds like Kayla's the cornerstone.
I'm out.
We need an alto or a soprano, Kayla. I don't know if you can nail either of those.
See, I have what's called in the industry the inability to sing. So, I'm good.
I mean,
fine.
Chad, you're making a lot of sense because I feel like a barbershop would be a cornerstone of dwarven society, what with all the beards.
Yeah, right? They're hanging down there by the there's like a stone pillar that has the red and white stripes just naturally.
Yep.
And they're singing about dungeons. Like, oh, there's something there, Kevin.
I think there's something there. I'd like to go on this journey with you, but perhaps not as a member, more of as like an agent or producer.
Fine, we'll discuss off podcast. We should introduce our guest, by the way. Anyone listening, you haven't noticed that Paul has not spoken up. Paul is
dead.
Whoa.
Paul is in the first death realm, fighting his way back to the land of the living.
Paul is fighting back against the undead rat hordes, trying to find his way back to us. And while he's not here to join us for this episode, we are joined by the wonderful Kayla Cline. Welcome, Kayla.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited that I'm not dead, I guess.
Well,
that's what you think.
That's going to be a theme of the book we're about to discuss.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Kayla, I want to both hype you up, but also, why don't you? What would people know you from?
That's a good question. I don't know. How would you find me? I used to play Dungeons and Dragons professionally for Wizards of the Coast, which was very fun. Done a lot of tabletop art. I currently co-host the podcast Spooky Scouts, which kind of a spiritual sibling to Goosebuds, I would say. We're we get along. And I also work on the clothing line We Crowing Hens, and I just released a cool comic book with Chad called Wrestling with Demons, which is very exciting. Yeah. It's very cool. You should buy it.
I backed that comic book and it looks awesome.
Oh, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Kayla also has designed the last couple sets of Goosebuds merchandise. So if you picked up the Wrestler Boys or the Ball Boy shirts, that's Kayla.
It's true. I wore the wrestling one yesterday.
I wore the ball one yesterday.
I like wearing them out and just waiting for one day for someone to go, I know who you are, and it is insane that you're wearing your own shirt. I just want one person to challenge me on it.
I can't think of a more intimidating statement to hear from a stranger than I know who you are.
Yeah. I think you'd have bigger concerns at that point if they approached you like that.
Like, I know you meant it in a warm, like, I know who you are. Hey, I like your stuff. But I heard it more as a, I know who you are.
I know who you are. I know what you've done. I know what you did.
You're wearing your own face on your body.
I know. I'm proud of myself and my friends. What we normally do, if this is somehow your first episode of Goosebuds, is we normally read the works of R.L. Stine, Goosebumps, Fear Street, Goosebumps 2000, but sometimes we do an adjacent view into other YA books. We used to call it Ghoulastic Book Club. Don't know if we still do that anymore. But we are reading our second ever Animorphs book. And boy, oh boy, is this one a trip.
Yeah. We, just for a little bit of a history lesson, what was the other Animorphs thing we did? I don't think I was on the podcast when we did
this is the pre-Kevin era. Yeah. We read Animorphs #1 with guest Holly Conrad, friend of Kayla and co-host of Spooky Scouts. Yeah.
Very nice.
Such an innocent book in comparison.
Oh my god. Which is all of like the setup for that series. And then this is probably, we read Megamorphs #3, which is kind of like a one-shot adventure.
Yeah.
That doesn't have like huge repercussions for the series, but still fits canonically.
It's a time travel plot, so literally nothing matters.
I guess that's
Except
true.
Everything matters.
But the characters remember, so this all has emotional tolls on them.
This, by the way, is the first Animorphs book I've ever read.
Oh my
god.
Yes. So
I'm so sorry.
To me, this is Animorphs.
I mean, yeah.
you're not wrong. It is Animorphs.
Okay.
This is just like season 12 Animorphs. Like, if this is the Supernatural has been going on for 15 years. It won't get canceled. So at this point, the showrunners and writers are just like, I don't know, maybe there's a magical unicorn that they have to kill. Or maybe they're in Scooby-Doo world. Like, this is that level of what if the Animorphs had to time travel back and kill Hitler.
Apparently, both God and the devil are on their side for this particular outing.
We have to talk about the Ellimist.
This has so much lore. Yeah, so Kayla, you are probably even, I'd say, more diehard Animorphs fan than I. I love Animorphs, but I feel like you knew the plot of this by memory before we started reading it. It was a bit wonky for me. So why don't you lay out what we think we need to know to understand this story without the full, here's a 2-hour download on Animorphs and Elfangor.
So, and I'm sure the way that I'm going to tell this is absolutely incorrect, but I'm doing my best here. But basically, so we know that our friends and pals, the Animorphs, can morph into things, other things, animals, aliens, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So as they progress through the story, they encounter Axe, who you met in the book, who's an Andalite, who is one of the species that gave them the power to morph. And they find, the Yerks, who are evil aliens, and there's this whole alien battle going on that they get swept up in, and it is being controlled as a game, pretty much, by Cryak, who is Space Satan, and the Ellimist, who is Space God.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like it's, this is not me to be, I feel like it's more Space Satan versus Space Jesus.
Yeah, Space Jesus. Well, I would say Space Jesus, because can I give you the primer on the Ellimist? Because I briefly explained this to Chad. So.
Yes, and also, before you get into it, I just want to make sure people are really like, wait, I don't remember any part of this. Maybe if you read Animorphs, you're like, none of this is coming up. This is like, I say 30 books in. It is all Yerk versus Andalite, kids caught up in this galactic war between brain parasites and the good aliens that are horse centaurs with scorpion tails.
Yeah.
And then kind of out of nowhere, one of the kids has an encounter in the mind space with Cryak, who's just kind of, is like Thanosing God Satan this whole universe. Sorry, I just wanted to, if you're in case you're like, I don't remember any of this, that's where Cryak comes from.
Yeah, and the Ellimist, all of his backstory came, I think, pretty much from the Ellimist Chronicles, which came out before the last book, but was the Ellimist appearing to a dying Animorph and being like, yo, my life was pretty crazy. And then he just, like, tells all about it.
This is a series that had spin-off books that I would read most of them. I don't think I read the Ellimist Chronicles, but they'd be like, hey, Hork-Bajir, you know those, like, death aliens that the Yeerks use? Here's a whole side story about a Hork-Bajir on his home planet that fell in love with an Andalite. Like, just way far offshoot stuff.
Oh, that explains some of the fan art I found.
Oh, dear.
I didn't know that was a canon pairing.
Yeah, right? That's Hork-Bajir Chronicles, I'm pretty sure, is a Andalite and a Hork-Bajir, like, got it on.
I mean, I just want to say, Hork-Bajir, great design. Like, cool
really
as hell.
cool.
Oh, they're so cool.
Yeah.
They're like a like walking griffins with just blades all over their bodies. And I always loved that they were like a peaceful race that had blades on their arms to strip bark off of trees to eat.
Yeah.
And the Yeerks were like, I'm going to weaponize that. I'm going to get in them brains. I thought that was a really nice perversion of something cool for war. I thought that was a really cool idea. Sorry, Kayla, you were talking about the Ellimist.
No,
yeah.
You're fine. I am like jonesing to tell you about the Ellimist, okay? Like,
I'm jonesing to know anything about the Ellimist.
Have you heard the good word of the Ellimist?
Do you understand what you're about to get into? So, the Ellimist appears basically as like the dungeon master from classic D&D, like a little old man. But historically, he was just an alien, some kind of like avian race that was semi-humanoid from an advanced society and he was literally a hardcore gamer. That's what he was. He played video games and he really loved Civ 5. He loved this game where he built an alien civilizations and like you help them evolve and help them thrive. It was like Sim City, Civ 5, whatever. And he decided one day that he was going to Twitch stream it to the galaxy. And he did. He streamed it on Twitch to the whole galaxy. And this other race caught the stream and they were like, this guy is violating the Prime Directive. We have to go kill them. And they decimate his whole planet because they thought the video game was real.
Because he was too good at video games.
Yep, and they killed his whole planet except for like him and 2 other people. And they leave the planet.
I don't know what the Twitch allegory for killing a whole planet is, but
if anything, this is an argument against like you can't have the graphics ever get too good in video games because if they cross the uncanny valley, next thing you know, Dr. Disrespect's gonna be fucking streaming, and then the alien race is gonna contact us as seeing him, and they're like, we can't deal with anything, and then we lose contact.
No. I 100% think that one day we're going to beam a Twitch stream of like Logan Paul into space and the aliens are going to be like, nope, goodbye. Nope.
This is why God doesn't hang out with us anymore.
Nope. So they escape the decimated planet, like the 3 of them, and they search for a place to live that would suit their biology, and they end up landing on this moon or crashing on this moon, and the moon is actually an alien that has been like sucking in things and absorbing their brains, and he's called the Father. And so the Father kills all of his friends and absorbs their brains, and he's like all of these minds, so he has all this knowledge and technology and stuff, and he ends up being like, but I need a pal. So he keeps the Ellimist alive and he hangs out with them. And then they compete at Rock Band, and the Ellimist wins.
What do you mean they compete at Rock Band?
He won at like some music contest.
Yeah, clearly it's a devil went down to Georgia situation.
Yeah, okay, a space violin kind of thing. Sure, yeah.
Why was the Ellimist the only one that wasn't consumed by the moon?
Because he was too much of a hardcore gamer. He was too tough. He got good.
Yeah.
He too good. I think it was, if I remember right, the Father was just like, I'm lonely and like I can absorb all these brains, but I have no one to talk to.
Oh, okay. So by random chance, he just got around to absorbing the Ellimist brain last and was like, I'd rather have a friend.
Yeah, basically. And he like lived at the bottom of an ocean / the alien's body. I don't know. And they have the fiddle battle or whatever, some music battle, and he wins. and then he absorbs the alien and becomes omnipotent and also part spaceship, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I never understood what that meant. Was he just a traveling planet, or did he turn into like Flight of the Navigator ship and just zoom around everywhere? I was never completely sure.
So from my understanding, the alien that he encounters was like not the moon, but it encompassed the whole moon. Kind of like that Prodigy episode. I don't know, like, you know.
Hey, Starship Prodigy!
So but then he defeated the alien and absorbed him and then, like, merged with technology or something and became a techno god. And then at one point, he finds Kryak. And then Kryak already exists and is like, ugh. And then they start playing Civ 5 against each other. Like, they're just like, you know, and that sets up that whole thing. And at one point, Kryak shoves him in or makes him fly into a black hole. And then he merges with all of time and space instead of dying. And so then he becomes an omnipotent time traveling god, like a real god. And now they're still playing the game.
This dude just has a sleeve full of the Uno reversal cards at all times.
Yes. Yep, basically. So that sets you up for the backstory of, like, because this whole book starts out being like, Kryak says bloop bloop, and the Ellimist says no. So that's their whole thing. They're fighting.
This is all not in the book. This is all war backstory. That when I started reading this yesterday, even though I had read this before as a young Chad, I messaged you both going, guys, I think we got the wrong book. I think we got some sort of bootleg or something, because this is really fucked, and like it's written like an Animorphs book, but like some of the names are wrong. Rachel is not in here, and she's named Melissa, and hey, Cassie has a slave.
Yep.
Like they're they're talking about the war in I'm
South America,
South America, and call them like God, what was the term they had for it? Primitives. And I was like, what the fuck, did Ben Shapiro write this? What the hell is going on? It was just this weird, like, I thought we were reading like an alt-right like fan re-edit of Animorphs. Turns out, no, that was in the book. This is just a wrong timeline, and it is catching you off guard the entire time.
I mean no disrespect to Animorphs or fanfics when I say this, but the writing in this book feels fanficky, and I know like Applegate's writing must have influenced like a generation of fanfic writers, because there's just sort of this I can do whatever the fuck I want kind of confidence in this.
Oh yeah,
in this book,
the swagger.
Well, yeah, not to defend it, but at this point, these kids, I mean, especially the Animorph kids, at this point they have killed God. Like they have. They are the end of the RPG, so there's almost a different swagger to them than at the beginning, where they're like, "What? You're an alien? There's brain slugs crawling into us." Like, this is a wild place for these teenage kids to be, but especially this alternate history. I loved it after I realized I was not reading a trick. That like. This is it's written just like, oh, you're reading an alternate version of an Animorphs book where Tobias openly talks about how there's just slaves down on the beach, and even they are enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah.
And you're like, it really throws you off until it was like the Drode shows up.
Yeah.
Imagine my delight, not knowing anything about Animorphs whatsoever, when the Drode shows up and everyone hates him. I love the Drode. I don't give a shit. The Drode is the greatest character because he shows up and everyone went, ugh, the Drode.
He's such a little shit. Like, I don't know. I always like think of him with Q's voice. Like, in my mind, that's what he sounds like.
Yes, yeah. John Delancey is definitely voicing the Drode.
It's a very good... You called it Animorphs Q last night. That's very accurate. Because he is Kryak's avatar. Like, and it's not 1-to-1, but if Kryak was Galactus, Drode is the Silver Surfer, right? He is like, I serve on behalf of Kryak, the evil space deity that hates you guys.
Well, I looked up like fan art of the Drode because of course I did, and I was a little disappointed because from his description I imagined him as a California raisin.
Me too. I love the fan art too. No. I pictured him like more like Krang, but like not in the containment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the fan art is like he's a little dino, and I was like, I don't know,
guys. Those are both great. I love him going like, I chose a form of something that is more familiar to you 90s kids, and it's just a California raisin 101.
Oh shit. Anyway. Okay, so the Drode is like, ever wonder why you guys are Nazis? And he snaps his fingers, and everyone remembers their past lives as not being Nazis. And they're like, well, then why are we Nazis? And it's like, it's because Visser 4 went back in time because he found the Time Matrix, aka Elfangor's secret, the title of the book, guys.
And Vissers are like alien generals, presidents based on rankum number.
Okay.
So like Visser 1 controls everything, and then down the line they get demoted.
I wrote down every word I didn't know, and my
We got you. It's fine.
So, okay, that explains what a Visser is. I don't know what a Z spacecraft is, but it's probably not going to come up.
I wondered if that was the first thing they had ever mentioned, because he says like with the time matrix, you could move through time the way a Z spacecraft can move through space. I'm like, what? Isn't Z space already time? That's what I thought I learned in sci-fi.
Yeah.
I think they were just he was just like techno babble, and I was like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, so this is all I was throwing was like, I don't think any of this had been set up before. I was trying to go through the wiki too to try to remember, but like Visser 4 was never a character in the books, right? Like Visser 1 showed up, you're like, oh fuck, that's the president, that's the evil president.
Mm. And
then Visser 3 was the book's main antagonist that was kind of like someone that's in control, but still has some, he's a little bit of a Starscream, right? Or he's still trying to work his way up.
Mm-hmm.
4's history that I think we learned through this book, which I thought was such a wild, it's a different sci-fi story, that decades ago, a human actor named, I would call him John Barrowman, but that's the guy from Doctor Who.
It's John Barrowman.
No, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounded like the actor from Doctor Who. Maybe it's the same name. He goes walking out into the wilderness of his town and happens to just encounter a time machine left by an Andalite, unconnected to any of the events of the Animorphs. That like Elfangor, this old Animorph, had crash landed on this planet. He had the super MacGuffin weapon that both Yeerks and Andalites knew would change the course of the war because it's a time machine. You could do anything. Buries it. John Barrowman finds it.
Yeah.
Does nothing with it. Just kind of has that history.
Was he Yeerked at the time when he found it? Or
I don't think he was Yeerked at the time. And then at some point, the Yeerk invasion of Earth starts to happen. Yeerks at this point, like in the book, the Yeerks have like millions of them people, right? People are just like lined up. Underneath all the McDonald's are big Yeerk pools, and people are just getting slugs in their brains.
They're under the McDonald's.
Yeah. And so John Barrowman is just random human slug man. He's an unsuccessful actor, but for whatever reason, they decide to put Visser 4 in this guy. And Visser 4 is like, yo, this random human's got knowledge of a time machine. Am I wrong, or is that the events of the book?
I don't think that's... We don't know. I don't think we know. I don't think that's in the purview of this book, how John Barrowman found the time matrix, guys. It's the time matrix.
Time matrix. This is me going off slightly off the Wikipedia trying to remember who these people were. So I was like, maybe this was pre-established in another book, but that is its own plot. And then it kind of crashes into the plot of Animorphs of like, oh, by the way, this actor, this aspiring actor who found a time machine, he's now possessed by an alien.
Chad, he's not an aspiring actor because he's out there acting, okay? So you can remove the aspiring.
Doing the work.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to disparage the crap.
I'm just saying, John Barrowman, you can remove the aspiring from your Twitter page. You're out there doing it, dude. So
you are. You probably got like 20, 30 credits on your IMDb. You go, John Barrowman. You go.
You go.
And Visser 4 is like, oh my god, I just got put in the best lucky brain of all time. I don't know why they didn't put me in like a major part of government, make me a senator or anything.
Again,
but
Chet, I think this is your interpretation of the event. Like, they could have done like research or like forensics or tech magic to figure out where the timey-wimey device is.
If I'm wrong, please someone let me know, especially listening to this. I was just going off the Wikipedia page because I was like, who the fuck is going on? Who's Visser 4? I don't remember.
I don't think John Barryman had prior knowledge of the Time Matrix. I think the Yeerks found the Matrix, and Visser 4 took the initiative in the Barryman bod.
Listen, that might make more sense. I just thought it was, if it's the other one, I thought that was very kind of like, not comedic, but just kind of like, it's not even necessarily overly convenient from a plot device, because it kind of helps them lead to the end of this book, which we should get to, because let's moving forward. Kryak makes the demand that one of the Animorphs must die in this little sojourn through time. So we have that. Yeah. We have that sort of Damocles hanging over us, and I wrote down some more words I didn't know, like howlers and iskor. Yes, but we don't have because
to.
In a previous book, Jake fucked up. Kryak had like a race of alien soldiers called the Howlers,
mm-hmm.
and Jake basically taught them love.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it ruined these like berserker class for Kryak. So Kryak hates Jake most of all. Jake is our young white boy leader.
Mm-hmm.
So like Kryak really hates you, Jake. He hates your Captain America.
All right. What do we think of our brief time in Nazi slave America?
Oh my god. It was so like, okay, so I had the same reaction you did, Chad, where I was like, what the fuck? And then I remember it's like came back to me because I had the same reaction as a child reading it, because I remember picking up this book and reading it and being like, what? And so I kept reading and I knew what was going to happen. But I think that this is the point, like Chad said earlier, this is like season 12 Animorphs. This is the point where K.A. Applegate stopped dancing around her ulterior messaging of war is evil and society is a mistake. So I think that's like the takeaway. I was like, this was one of the formative books for me as a child, where I was like, whoa, we're messed up. The human race sucks.
This is one of the first ones where I had, probably read this way before any other sci-fi story did the trope of like, Star Trek does this all the time, mirror universes, right? Like Discovery did a whole season of like, this is the alternate universe where everyone's bad and they're kind of Nazi-ish. But this one, I loved that Kay Applegate, like, she made it pretty fucking awful. Like, Jake is a white supremacist who makes everyone call him supreme leader.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids, these teenagers are fretting over, like, why are we getting involved in a war? But they're also dealing with a Yeerk invasion. And I think Kay Applegate makes it pretty clear in this book that because all of the time travel snafu had already happened that made a, fascist America, or whatever even this country is called, it made the planet easier to conquer. Like, because there were less, public, like, broadcasting stations and independent news sources, it was much easier for the Yeerks to take over, which is a great way to sell kids on anti-fascist thought.
Yeah.
I also just really loved that it was written kind of in the voice and tone of there's not a single part to anything in the narration where those characters know they're bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like hand-wringing evil. They are talking very seriously, and the narration is talking very seriously about, like, this is the way of the world, and this is the drama enhanced in it. Like, there's a part in that opening chapter where the drama of this fake book is Cassie is, I think, anti-war, but not about just like a human war. And they're considering, like, do we need to report Cassie to the government?
I think it's a little fatalistic in that they're like, the only thing keeping these kids from not being Nazis is like current American society. Like,
that's true. That's very true.
In Nazi Germany, there were people who opposed the Nazis. Everyone was not immediately Nazi by default because of their environment.
That's very true.
Just like there are people in Russia right now who oppose Putin. Like, there are people with independent thoughts, and not everything is down to what your government is like. So I kind of found this, well, I'm criticizing a book meant for middle schoolers to show the horrors of war, which, like, I guess I should be praising it because it is like a little makes you think if you'd grown up different, like who you would have been. And I'm reading that and I'm like, well, hopefully I wouldn't be a fucking Nazi.
maybe I think that's really a valid point, Kevin. Maybe the part that hits me the most was it was really about the perspective of what these kids think the world is as teenagers growing up in this alternate society.
Yeah.
There is like still dissension among some of them. Like Cassie has, I guess, a slightly different view of the war. But they are already kind of in this like narrow-minded view of everything. And yeah, it's it's wild that Kay even put this all out. Cassie just has a slate.
Yep, that's the choice, Applegate.
There are a couple times in this book where I was like, this would not be written in 2022 the way that it is written. But I think I don't know, it does make you think. And like, I feel like that message of nature versus nurture is hit home at the end, which we'll get to. But I think that the whole thing, the messaging was very interesting. And it took me back to reading it as a kid. And I think this book gave me a similar perspective on the world at a young age as His Dark Materials did, which is the one where they literally kill God.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, interesting, heavy stuff in this. Unexpected.
I feel like I love His Dark Materials so much. It's one of my favorite book series of all time.
Same.
I feel like it's kind of pulled between like this Animorphs style, like I can do anything, like I'm gonna tell like the story I want to tell. I have this laser focus on what my message is, and sort of the Lord of the Rings more like dirtily, like here's the rules of the world and the lore sort of storytelling. I felt like His Dark Materials was always a good and this won't be the last time I bring up Lord of the Rings on this podcast.
Reset the clock.
Everyone hopes that it's the last time I bring up Lord of the Rings on this podcast.
No, never.
Yeah. I think Goosebuds listeners adjacently are big Tolkien fans.
Good, because I'm going to quote Faramir later on in this. I've got the quote prepared and everything.
You probably were setting this up, Kevin or Kayla, earlier, and I wanted to diatribe about John Barrowman's actor backstory. But basically, what it does pay off in a really great way at the start of this, where Drode is like, "Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all hate me. I talk like Stinko. I'm the Drode."
There he is.
Yeah.
Fan favorite Stinko's back, everybody. Reset the Stinko counter.
Reset the Stinko. And I kind of, as much as this is like a very much like one-off adventure, I liked the reasoning of I'm working on behalf of Kryak, but we want you to stop this time matrix because, and the kids pointed together, like, this fucks up both Kryak and the Ellimist games. Like, time matrix is too strong for even these interdimensional deities.
Yeah.
So you are almost like G-manning Half-Life these kids into becoming agents of this fight. You need to find Visser 4, who is time jumping across the galaxy in time and just stop this whole thing.
Well, just Earth, not really across the galaxy.
No, you're true. Just Earth. Sorry,
just
Earth.
Earth.
Just Earth. The only place that matters, the only planet.
Yeah, the only planet that ever mattered, Earth. And we begin in the historical European martial arts dimension, where we get two phrases pretty much back to back, which are "wet girls from the future" and "tangled horrific mass of mismatched body parts." That is the world we find ourselves in I forget what year, I didn't write it down, but it's the Henry V War, or whatever. It's Agincourt.
Right. Is the reason, I maybe I misread this, is the reason Visser 4, who gets a time machine, goes back to this time purely because the actor that he is inhibiting won't stop mind quoting Henry V?
Yes. He's trying to... He's trying to kill Shakespeare, but he can't pin down where Shakespeare would be at a specific point.
Because the bard didn't exist. Because he didn't exist.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Whoa. But we kind of know that it wouldn't matter if he, unless it's like only the kids' minds that are like temporally shielded, wouldn't Berryman just remember it anyway? Because he's also, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. You're right. You're right, because they say that, they're, like you said, everyone involved is temporally shielded from being messed up from it. So John Berryman would have been as well.
Yeah.
I guess it's really a threat, if anything. Like, if you don't stop fucking quoting...
Yeah.
Henry V, I'm going to kill Henry V. I'm going to shoot him right in front of you. I'm going to make you watch me kill Henry V, and then you...
I think, maybe this is sort of explained by the constant Henry V quoting is making this Yeerk insane.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what you're talking... I don't like Magic the Gathering. Stop telling me that converted mana cost is now mana value. I don't care.
So this is a Yeerk inhabits Kevin's mind. God, the nightmare. Kevin, I would hate for that to happen to you.
Oh, yeah, baby.
A Yeerk with a time machine, and they're most of the time in Animorphs, the Yeerk can hear the human fighting back, and it's a lot much a control thing.
Yeah.
But, they're in your brain,
yes,
and you won't stop talking about Lord of the Rings to the Yeerk in your head.
Yeah. Oh,
and this Yeerk's I'm gonna go back and fucking kill Tolkien just to piss you off, body.
Here's the thing. I actually don't know it's annoying, or don't care it's annoying when I talk about Lord of the Rings, because I love it that much. I do know it's annoying when I talk about Magic the Gathering, and I am ashamed when I do that, because I do think it turns literally everyone off when I do that.
I'm going to go back and burn down Wizards of the Coast before it ever gets started.
Yeah. They're going to kill Richard Garfield. No.
No.
I hate Valve's artifact game so bad. I'm going to kill Richard Garfield. I just loved that this was not Vissers are always written as very power mad, right? And they crave being Visser 1 and promoted, but their number one priority wasn't change the war effort. It was, I hate this fucking human play that my host keeps talking about, and I'm going to set things right first. I loved that. I loved it so much.
Dude, Visser 3, you can leave, right? You can just walk out. If this dude's annoying...
Slide on out.
You can leave anytime you want, dude. There's a part in this in the medieval times saga where a character is located because they smell of salsa, which
oh my gosh, yeah, because they were have you eaten Taco Bell?
Yeah, which always love to see a brand drop in a kid's book. Always very special to see that. But also, Taco Bell exists in Nazi future times.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's a good point.
I mean, as established in Demolition Man, another sci-fi story, Taco Bell won the franchise wars and is the only fast food around. So I would argue that in sci-fi, Taco Bell, the fourth meal conquers all in all timelines.
I don't think the Nazis would permit anything that spicy.
I don't know. That's a comfort. I guess if the past ever gets altered and we end up in a fascist America or whatever it is, we will still have Taco Bell. We'll still have that Baja Blast.
Oh, thank God. The only balm against fascism is Baja Blast. Oh no, I've just described our current time.
Oh God.
Maybe they keep the Taco Bell open as a way to mark potential errant thinkers. Yeah, dissidents. So we spotted you shopping at the Taco Bell. That's only a way to trap liberals. That kind of.
Just the floor opens up and you fall into the Yeerk pit.
Oh. Wow. I love this, actually.
I love this fucking book series. Oh man, I missed Animorphs.
This is definitely much more fun to talk about than some of the ickier parts of this were to read. I did have fun. I did like this thing. It's just there was a lot of body horror. And
oh my gosh, and
injury.
lots of murder. I don't remember it being as graphic as it is, but I wonder if my parents would have let me read it if they knew it was we gotta kill Hitler. Also, everyone's head's exploding from bullets through their brains. And I was
I mean, Jake, main character Jake, gets shot in the back of the head, JFK style.
Oh shit! We're skipping so many things to get there.
Well, we're just referencing it. Like, Jake just gets fucking shot, and he is dead for the rest of the book. And Rachel, who is our berserk, Rachel's the best character. She's like our Wolverine. She's the pretty blonde, but also she's like the most down to just murder people when she needs to. Is like Axe, our Andalite friend, who is like a good innocent boy who also has a blade for a tail. She's like, Axe, kill all of the soldiers. And Axe is like, they did nothing wrong. They were just fighting, protecting their Axe. And she's like, commit a war crime, Axe.
Do it, Axe.
So Melissa is the killer who cries. That's the
Cassie.
Cassie is. Who the hell's Melissa?
Melissa's in the beginning as this like weird alternate. The way to show you it's an alternate history and why I thought we were reading a fake book at the beginning is like in an alternate timeline. I think they referenced it. Rachel is not there. She's in some sort of like school for like
she's being reprogrammed.
She's being reprogrammed.
Yeah.
So Melissa is now part of the Animorphs, a girl that I don't think we had ever met before. If so, she was like a background character.
Got it. Sorry, that was confusing.
As soon as Drode shows up, he's like, snaps fingers, Melissa's gone, Rachel's back.
Let's get rid of this chick. Like, bye.
I miss Drode. I wish the Drode was around.
He should have come with him the whole time as this like, little like Yoda on Luke's back, just kind of like, yo, that's fucked up. He just killed that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
All right, so they find out that they can identify Berryman's face because he's the only one who isn't fucking gross and pockmarked and.
Oh, sorry, no, they use the term skanky.
Yeah,
they say he's not skanky.
You ain't skanky.
But they're like, because this man time traveled from an era where we have medicine and soap.
Yeah.
And dentists and
scabies isn't infesting everyone.
Yeah.
We can point him out amongst the hordes of unwashed masses of England. Like I loved that idea.
There's like a stretch of a chapter where Marco says boys like 15 times. Like, he's just identifying, like, the king and his boys, and he's like, look among his boys, and then, oh, there's some archer boys over there. That's my boy. Marco just, like, goes boy crazy for a
That's Marco. He's the cool one. He uses the cool language. I don't know. So he sounds, like, super neat and cool.
I loved it. I wrote down screaming horses. I forget when that happens, but there's a part where all the horses start screaming because of, I think war is bad. I think we're entering into another portion.
Yeah, horses can tell.
Horses can tell, and isn't that after one of them turns into a Hork-Bajir and it's just like, I'm Satan!
Yeah.
On a horse!
Yeah, so much fucking happens. Like, one of them breaks a wing as a bird and then plumps to the ground and then is saved by another bird who's then fucked up by, like, a spear or some shit. And then a horse comes out and saves the two birds. And then the horse is stabbed, like, right in the fucking gut. And I didn't know at this point that if you morph, you heal. Like...
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So you thought those guys were all dead. You were like, these kids are down.
I was like, this is a tremendous amount of, like, body damage. I didn't realize that morphing was also a way to heal yourself, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
It's still kind of fucked up, though, because they still, like, they get so damaged that they almost die, so they have to experience this, like, massive pain, and then they're like, okay, I'm okay again.
Yeah.
I get to keep going.
I have, like, I probably brought this up when we talked about Animorphs 1 back on the podcast, but, like, my most vivid recurring detail, and maybe this is my super strengthos kind of thing where I thought it was constant through the books and only happened once, where like it's always described during a battle, especially like Rachel and Marco would always get super fucked up because they had the most like battle forms. Marco would go like gorilla, and then Rachel would go elephant or bear. I feel like bear was her default. And like in the middle of the battle, there would be just a narration of like one of the other characters going like, Rachel was in the corner. Her bare guts were spilling out of her belly and she was struggling to hold them in with her paws so she could demorph and heal. I'm like, that's fucking vivid. Just like, and that was just a constant kind of like shorthand for these animals are, if this was on TV, you would not be able to watch this.
War bad.
War is bad. Do you ever just like while you were, well, I had the physical book, but I assume the cover was on the PDF. But like throughout reading this book, I would flip it to the cover and be like, these are like 12-year-old children. Because I would forget.
Yeah, dude. I was kind of weirded out by that, like seeing the cover and how young everyone is. I'm like, I guess those are the actors from the show, or were they? Or
no, that was just models that they had for They never got any of those kids for the live action
They're
TV
too
show. As far
young
as
to
I'm aware.
save the world. They should be like playing Pokemon cards or something.
That's the point. It's awful. War is terrible. These children have PTSD. Like,
we haven't talked about on the podcast what Kayla sent us right before we started, which was the inside book cover. Is I want this like framed and printed and hung up on my wall. That is just the default thing of like the Animorphs in their animal forms, Marco Gorilla, Jake Lion, Cassie Wolf, Axe just being an Animorph and an Andalite with his big old stalk eyes, Tobias mid-flight, Rachel Elephant, all posing like a school photo.
Yeah. Well,
and then just background behind them. Yes, Kevin. Yeah.
With a fucking Zeppelin behind them.
And an explosion.
Explosions, warplanes. There's guys in tanks behind, but it's like they're unaware of the carnage behind them.
I didn't see the tanks. They're like behind Axe's shoulder. There's like tanks and like army, military behind him.
Yeah, it's like a Faces of War photograph where, like, just make this instead just soldiers standing over a pile of dead bodies, but it's our friend the Animorphs.
Yeah, and it's like some of these are just like cutouts from zoo books or something.
Yes.
It's very collagey. And the gorilla has like the most, I don't know, kind of face on. Like, hey.
I think here's the gorilla. War is hell.
Like that gorilla needs a cigarette or something. And I'm pissed. I'm pissed that I read an Animorphs book and there wasn't a tiger or a kitty cat or anything for my Catboy self in this book. Just birds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, usually Jake goes lion form, I feel like.
Yeah, but he got killed, so
Okay.
He got shot in the back of the head trying to save George Washington crossing the Delaware.
Yeah, because he does tiger, Rachel has lion. So one of them usually does one or the other, I think.
Yeah.
And again, you have to physically touch a animal in order to morph into it, right?
Yeah.
So you just went...
You can't just Wonder Twins where you just say a thing. You have to have like touch that animal. So the fun of a lot of these was like, oh, they have to, go to the zoo to like research which animal they need to infiltrate, or in like the previous time travel book, they encounter dinosaurs, so they get dinosaur forms. Like,
and you can't copy someone's homework, right? So, like, once someone has a morph, you can't touch them and in their morph state and take the morph.
Oh my god. Wait, so, like, you're saying you transform into a wolf, I touch you as a wolf, I don't get your wolf, I don't think.
I don't think that's how it works, because everyone has their own specific forms. Otherwise, the meta would be horde of elephants all the time.
Kayla's about to push up her glasses and say,
I actually did... Well, actually, so I actually refreshed myself on how morphing works before this because I don't know if either of you knows.
I don't.
But it's it's ridiculous. So basically, you touch the animal and you can't touch someone else in animal form and do it because the way it works is like you touch the animal and then you like scan their DNA and then it gets stored in a cell in your body and cryogenically frozen within that cell. And then concentrating to morph is to pull that DNA out of that cell in your body and make it your primary DNA. And then your DNA gets stored in another cell. And I think they call it like cryogenically freezing DNA within cells of your body on the molecular level. Anyways, it's weird. But I don't think you could touch someone else and do that because you got to scan that and then store it. It's like stored within you.
Okay.
It's in the cloud.
It would be a Xerox of a Xerox if you did it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if they ever did a story later on where, for whatever reason, one of them needed to animorph into another human. Like,
yes, they've done that.
They must have done it at some point. Like Jake becomes Cassie or something. Yeah,
they do that because I think they have adult morphs they use towards the end when they're like infiltrating the military. So they can turn into other humans, but it's kind of fucked up.
Okay, this leads to my second question, which is, when you morph, are you an exact copy of the animal you touched, or do you get a little bit of creative license on that?
It's exact copy.
It's exact copy. So
yeah.
So could you touch like one gorilla that's like kind of buff, kind of like a big old like tanky gorilla, and then like a slightly smaller gorilla for like, I don't know, cocktail parties or something?
Yeah, you just got different ones back. I bet you could. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
theoretically, there could have been an Animorph who's just like, I would have, because they're always like, they have diverse, different, skill sets.
Yeah.
I would love to have, like, Marco just been like, I'm only getting gorillas. And they're like, Marco, please get any other animal. Like, we're going underwater. He's like, no, I'm getting a smaller gorilla that can swim. And they're like, oh, God. Activating gorilla Kappa. And he just only ever turns into monkey form. It's like a Pokemon trainer that only has one type. He's just like, only this.
It's like, quick, I'll turn out of gorilla form, go back to my regular form, then back into gorilla form, but a different gorilla.
Or just different cats. You could just be every kind of cat, right?
Yeah.
And that's great because you're already gonna pet every cat you see, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I'd be petting all my friends' cats and dogs going, don't, secretly, I'm going to become this dog. Yeah.
And then they're like, you need a battle form. And you're just like, no, I'm collecting cats and only cats.
That is one of the rules is you can't just like shift from form B to form C. You have to always go back to your core form.
Yeah.
You couldn't go from like wolf into tiger. You have to be like wolf back to human, then to tiger.
Well, and I forgot that it takes so long.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's like a couple minutes. I looked it up because there's people, I can't think of the term. But Cassie's one of them that can morph really fast or like in a not gross way. And they have a term for it on the Andalite homeworld, but in general, it takes like up to 2 minutes or something, I think is what it is, which is a really long time. And that's disgusting.
Yeah. Axe does like a really long morph sequence in medieval times where like he's out in the open, he's in front of a door, and he's like, well, guess I'll morph from bird back to Andalite form as quickly as possible. And then all these peasants show up and they're like, hey, what the fuck is happening? And they try to stab him, but the Hork-Bajir man, was that Toby in the Hork-Bajir?
I believe that was Tobias, right? Yeah, Tobias had a Hork-Bajir form at some point. At some point, Tobias breaks his curse and can morph.
And I know I'm just referencing your little hammer man from the Troll Hunters.
Oh, Toby!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, little hammer man. No, they never call it. They never call him Toby.
Okay.
I think he's always Tobias, and he is also, Tobias is hot because he and Rachel want to be together, but like Lady Bird, they can't always be together for long.
You say that, and I'm like, I'm staring at him on the cover, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
I mean, they can absolutely be together. She just has to turn into bird form. Like, that's not hard.
Aww.
Well, they can either be together for bird form, but she can only be a bird for 2 hours, or he could turn into it. I think he somehow gets his human form back through like time travel whatever's, but it's for 2 hours. You got 2 hours to kiss and stuff, and then you gotta go back.
I mean, she can be in bird form for more than 2 hours and then just turn perma-bird like Tobias did, right?
You want her to become a bird forever? He hates that, Kevin.
For love, dude.
Yeah, for love. Are you committed to this relationship or not?
Yeah. I think that's like, there's a path for you there, Rachel. I don't think you want it bad enough. I know you're like 12 or something, but come on.
I would probably argue if I was any of their dads, like, hey, right now this is the love of your life. When you get to college, you're gonna love a different boy. So maybe don't permanently turn yourself into a bird.
It only gets harder to turn yourself into a bird for the person you love. So you better do it young.
So Visser 4 is time traveling all over the place. He went to the Delaware.
Yeah, fife and drum music comes in, and we're in the American Revolutionary War, where we like fanboy over George Washington for some fucking reason.
Was that not super weird? They're
that
like,
was intensely
weird. It's the man.
Was he not the father of our country, guys?
National daddy. They say national daddy. I know they don't. I know Applegate doesn't mean it the way we mean daddy.
Step on my neck, national daddy.
Zaddy.
National Zaddy. George Washington is here.
I thought that was so weird because I legitimately, as a child, do not remember being so gung-ho about our founding fathers or whatever. Where he's just like, that's the man, George Washington right there. I stole his boots. And I was like,
and this is where I get a little frustrated because I was really hoping for a subversion of this, but like the way Visser 4 is changing history is by assassinating all the great men of history. Is essentially his plan, is that history hinges on a few load-bearing, important people who certainly weren't in the right place at the right time or just lucky, and there are no understudies or other people with similar thoughts and abilities. Nope. It was all hinged upon one guy being himself in a specific time. That's history, baby. There's no George Washington before George Washington, and there's
if this book had come out like 15 years later, even though other things were different, it would definitely been like, I'm gonna go kill Alexander Hamilton.
it just seems so weird to me how you can be like this anti-war and anti-fascism, but still be like, hey, George Washington, known slaveholder and weirdo, you're the linchpin, dude. Thanks for being alive. You're the best. Here you are in my kid's book.
I think that's all super. I agree with I don't disagree with anything you're saying, Kevin. I wonder how much of it, because I'm an Applegate apologist now, apparently, is like how much like the beginning of this book is, well, that's what the kids, these teens who have choked down Americana 90s, like, where nothing's going wrong, trickle-down economics are working, like these versions of, well, of course we love George Washington, and that's their top priority.
Yeah, and it's noted that these kids don't know history too good. And I find that very funny, but also I think it's very important. Like, these kids are flawed characters, so
yes,
it tracks that they'd be like, George Washington, he's on the $1 bill. I guess you could have Axe jump in there and be like, I don't understand what's so great about this man with gross teeth that aren't his in his mouth.
Meanwhile, Axe is like, are you telling me that Cinnabon buns have not been invented yet?
Oh, poor Axe. Well, too, and I think, like, it's kind of, I feel like the historical events, other than the Agincourt one, were big, well-known events. So when the Yerk went into this guy's brain, this may have been the only knowledge he had of, like, these are events that would be significant and would cause a lot of damage. John
Barrowman did not pay attention in school, and so Visser 4 is like, all right, what were the big ones? And then John Barrowman's head is like, the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, that makes sense, because the only reason he'd know where, like, the Washington would be is because he's crossing the Delaware River, obviously somewhere close to Delaware.
I would love if this whole thing had been continually, you just reveal, like, they think Visser 4 is just trying to, like you said, Kevin, take down the pillars of Earth.
Yeah.
And then at the end, after they defeat him, you're like, no, he just was killing everyone I ever played on stage. Like, I played Washington, then I played Albert Einstein, and, like, he just really hated my acting career and really wanted to make me suffer.
Yeah. A Hessian jumps out in 360 no-scopes, Jake. A really fast and kind of merciful death compared to what happens later on in this book.
Very true, yeah. This is instant.
Yeah.
Which I guess throws the group into chaos because their leader is dead, and it allows for some good tension and whatever, but it is kind of abrupt how Jake is a person, and then he's a corpse overboard. I don't know who the dolphin is at this point, because there are a lot of...
Cassie, I believe, yeah.
But she's like, she takes like 3,000 psychic damage and is like, I'm just gonna be a dolphin for a few chapters if that's cool.
Yeah, because the love of her life just got shot.
Oh, I didn't know they were a thing.
Yeah, they were a thing. And that's a struggle that I think the dolphin was the first morph in the books where they really struggled with the because when you morph into an animal, there's always its habits and its brain to fight with, like similar to Yerks and being in people. So the dolphin, I think, was the first one where they had to be like, we have to demorph, even though we're so happy and everything's great because we're a dolphin. So that was a good callback, because she was just like, I'm just going to stay a dolphin and be happy.
She's going to take Animorph drugs to suppress her sorrow. Yeah, there's a really scary one where they have to become like ants for some reason to infiltrate, and then like the way ants are basically drones, like they're all one by one getting kind of like taken over and forgetting who they are.
Damn.
Yeah.
This book's heavy.
Yeah.
Like, I watched Evangelion when I was 13, but I feel like this would have messed me up more.
There's a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're in Trafalgar, which I guess I don't really know the history behind this one, but it's a boat battle, and we get a gorilla on a boat and a monkey being ripped in half, or a chimpanzee being ripped in half by a cannonball.
That was because it was Rachel that was the chimpanzee, right? And they just like blow her head off, and I was like, okay.
She like we get a portion where she's like, yeah, I saw half my body clinging to the ropes, and I was like, that's weird. And then I realized I had been blown in half by a cannonball as a chimpanzee.
Yeah, this book's cool.
This book is
pretty cool. But that was the part where we found out that nobody could die but Jake, because Rachel does get blown in half and she comes back.
Yeah, and also I have a question, because they bring up something like, I think it's Rachel who dies, but it's also Rachel who appears on the boat in a leotard, and they say something about morphing clothes. Can someone explain this to me?
Oh my god, I forgot about morphing clothes. Yes, Kayla, please. So
they basically they through practice gain the ability to morph like a little bit of clothing with them at any given time. Otherwise, it's really hard to do or impossible. So they pretty much just morph with bathing suits. So they'll keep the bathing suits. So that way when they demorph, they're not naked. Because it's too hard to do like a full set of clothes.
I forgot there was a bunch of them like running around naked in the first couple books, just hiding behind rock walls as they wait for their shields to reload.
Yeah. So that is like, basically she's in a little bathing suit. So all the old creepy men on the boat are like, oh, like.
That was a very weird part of the book. Yeah, I don't think we need to stay here too long. There is, I really want Visitor 4 to get punched by a gorilla at this point, but the book just won't give it to me.
Oh, that was awful. It was like he swings back to punch him.
Yeah, Visitor 4 keeps escaping stage left and time jumping again. And I think you'd said before, Kayla, like the big revelation, is when Rachel comes back, Axe theorizes because like Cryak, who had said like one of you must die, that now means that only one of you can die, which is like, sure, that's a lot to go off of. That's very nice of Cryak to give that.
Well, because the Ellimist would be like, you can't take more. The Ellimist is probably responsible for keeping them alive because they're playing a game, so they're trying to set up rules for each other and make sure they follow them and not interfere too much.
Yeah.
But at this point, our characters are still operating under grieving of Jake is dead.
Yeah. And then we go to alt history 1934, where Princeton is in not America because America doesn't exist. Einstein is still in Germany because Visser 4 is coming there to assassinate Einstein. And because he's changed so much in the past, Einstein is no longer in the place he should be.
I liked that.
I like that. It's remarkable that Einstein is even born with all of like the big shifts in who lives and who dies.
Who tells your story?
Who tells your story?
Sorry,
Christ. We get some racism. We get some 1934 racism.
They changed the past, but everyone's still racist. So.
Yeah.
But I liked the fuck yeah moment of, maybe it's not worth having the racism in there, but I believe it'd be there, is, they call Cassie, like someone sees Cassie, our only African-American member of the team, runaway slave. And then Cassie says something like, well, it'd be better if I turned white. And she turns into a big old polar bear.
Yep.
Yeah, and she like screams in the guy's face. It was pretty good.
She should have killed him. I'll be honest, she should have just bitten his head off.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's time travel. Who gives a shit? Just chomp a racist.
Well, I think there's, at this point, I think they're still operating over, like, when we're done with this all still happens now. Like, I don't think they're like, they're kind of, they're like, oh, fuck, well, I guess we'll deal with that later. Like, I guess we'll deal with,
Also, Axe kills a bunch of Hessians, and he's like, I feel grimdark about this.
Oh, he was sad. He's such an innocent boy. He like struggles the whole book. I felt so bad for him.
Yeah. He's like, what does it mean to kill another? He's like, he's like fucking Shadow the Hedgehog for a few chapters.
Give Axe a gun.
Oh man. He's like, those poor Hessian mercenaries that I killed for killing my friend.
I loved when Rachel manipulated him. He's like, yeah, Jake was your prince, right? You call him your prince
Yeah.
because of an Andalite custom thing.
Mm.
Kill.
Why?
Kill all of them.
Why does he call Jake his prince?
I think there's a kind of like a alien medieval like lineage thing, and because Jake either saved him or is the leader of the group, right? Axe looks up to Jake that way. Kayla, you remember better than I do.
That's kind of what I remember. It's just kind of like an Andalite, like he said, an Andalite custom. So since Jake is the leader, he just
it'd be like him calling him
Jake
Senpai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jake Senpai.
Isn't Axe like way older than these kids?
He's young.
Okay.
He's like a teen equivalent, I think.
He's technically Tobias's uncle.
I forgot about that fucking shit when they dropped that. But like,
okay.
Yeah.
I only have thousands of questions left.
Well, that's what's interesting is like I remember going to read this and you're like Elfangor's secret. Wow, that'll be fun to learn. And you already know at this point in the series that Elfangor is Tobias's father, but like
that doesn't come into play at all in this book.
Yeah, I'm like, you think we would dive into that a little bit as his secret?
Because Elfangor, a royal Andalite, had fled the war. This is not in this book. Had fled the war between the Yeerks, went to Earth, decided to take the permanent form of a human, fell in love with a human woman, a la Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then had a kid that happened to be Tobias, who is a kid who gets pulled into the secret war against the Yeerks.
Oh, and you have to specify that his human name was like Elfangor. Really stupid.
Al, yeah, A-L, last name Fangor.
Fangor. And like, I also believe, if I'm remembering right, he uses the time matrix to be sent back in time to start it all over, and that's how he ended up also coming back and giving them the morphing powers. I think it has something to do with time travel.
Also, Elfangor, messy bitch that he is, just buries the timey-wimey device in dirt. Like, he gives it a shallow grave. He just covers it in dirt and walks away. It's like, good enough for the greatest weapon ever devised.
Norm Macdonald bit about shallow graves. He should have dug a 12-foot grave at most.
There's brief musings about whether or not killing Albert Einstein would have been a good idea because nukes are bad, but we don't have time to really explore that thought. Applegate, we're gonna move on.
Go for Oppenheimer instead, right? Like,
yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, D-Day, everybody. After some fucking around, jumping through some random timelines and feeling bad about ourselves, and we're also skipping over so much body horror and pain and trauma in this. Like, listeners, should you choose to read this, just be warned. There is so much messed up shit that happens to these 12-year-olds.
Yeah, Eli Roth just going fucking nuts on this.
And now we're in D-Day, where we stay for a very long time as the Animorphs smell with like perfect like wolf senses. Everyone's shitting their pants and dying.
War is hell.
One of them literally says, the memory of the smell of D-Day will haunt me for the rest of my life."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because was that when Marco turned into a fly and he could like taste everything and he's just like, nah.
I'm eating dead soldiers, he says as he's a fly.
And like, I love how like one of them appears in a boat and a scrappy like not American Marine is like, stowaway, huh? Welcome to D-Day, and he walks out and gets fucking shot instantly.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like, this is maudlin shit.
If I remember right, so like even though some events had changed in history, D-Day still seems there's still a World War II happening, and D-Day is still an event that Visser 4 is going to prevent by or change by telling the Nazi party about the Allies.
I guess there always had to be a D-Day because America doesn't exist, and
it's a fixed point.
We don't know what the deal between Germany and France is because they seem to be cooperating against the not Americans. So we have no idea. Like, time is just broken down. We can't understand history anymore.
Not that they could in the first place, because they did not pay attention in history class.
And also, honk honk, who's that? Well, Hitler drives up in a little Jeep.
This is why I wanted us to read this book, is I had a vivid memory of, like, it kind of just comes into the adventure, where, like you say honk honk, like, they're dealing with soldiers, and then they're like, yo, do you realize who's driving that fucking car?
No. Because the way they describe him entering, they're like, it's a short to stocky man with dark hair, and he's wearing a mustache we all came to know as the Hitler mustache.
It was a fairly popular mustache. I assume Charlie Chaplin still exists if, like, his ancestors didn't die at Agincourt or something. Like,
in all timelines, also, Adolf Hitler decides to have that mustache.
He kept that style.
I wonder if it was actually Hitler or if it was just a guy. It was just a guy.
Oh my god!
No.
Oh my god! The kids just see someone who looks kind of like what they think Hitler looks like, and they're like, "It's fucking Hitler."
He doesn't say anything. He's just like, "What?" Whatever the German for what is.
This blew my brain as a kid because it was in this alternate timeline. Hitler is not the leader of the party. He's just a, like, low-level driver.
Yeah. He's
like, he is not even a painter. He has no, as far as we know, aspirations for conquering. He is a different man, but it is Adolf Hitler.
Yeah. It's definitely Adolf Hitler. No question about it. We're not just crazy from grief and stress, and also we can't die, but we can be shot a lot. Yeah, okay. And there's also this plan to blow up a tank because Visor 4 goes to the French Germans to be like, D-Day's happening, and it's the real deal, and you gotta come with me. And they're like, why? Also, okay. But you're a prisoner now. And they capture him and the time device, which is in a tank convoy or something. And
it's a big deal, though, that they have the time device, yeah.
And then a bunch of birds steal a grenade.
Gosh, that was my favorite part.
It was pretty fucking awesome. I can't lie.
Because they're all birds, and they're like, which one of us can pick up a hand grenade? And they're just like math lady gif in their head, like, ugh, how much does a salmon weigh? Ugh. Yeah. And Rachel's has a bald eagle morph, so she picks it up. Yep. And then they have to maneuver in the sky to have Axe in Harrier form pull the pin so she can go drop
can't
it.
Carry a coconut, let alone a grenade.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I love that.
There's a lot that I wouldn't want to see in live action or animated or in any medium, any visual medium, but this sequence I would love to see.
Sure. Animated. I would like 10 minutes of just them as birds pecking at grenades with their beaks.
Yep.
No, I think there's a part where Rachel, like, flies down to the grenades, and she was like, I experimentally picked one up with my talons. So there's just a bald eagle on the ground, like, lifting a grenade up with his foot. Like, I don't know. It was the perfect thing.
Put that on a flag.
It's too bad America doesn't exist, because
that would be the image.
Because everyone would have been saluting that bird.
If the story had turned where Rachel held up the grenade in her talon, and then every soldier nearby stopped and immediately started reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, and that was the birth of America.
So Rachel has this really weird musing in this chapter about war, and it goes like this, and I wanted to talk about it because I think I understand it better now. But Rachel, in her narration, says, "War is obscene, the worst thing humans do. But warriors, the individual men, are the very best of humanity. Not because they are willing to kill, but because they are willing to risk death, to sacrifice themselves for others." And I thought it was an interesting sort of, it was an interesting thought to say warriors are the best of humanity. And I'm like, are they? Like, we saw a bunch of warriors. Like, we saw, like, the gross, like, English and French dudes fighting it out at Agincourt. Like, if I came away from, because this feels like some sort of, like, thesis of the book, almost, the way it's presented. Like, but we haven't seen any, like, nobility on the battlefield at all in this book. So, And
I would argue that's more of a character thesis for Rachel.
Yeah. I think I understand that more. And it reminded me of this quote from Faramir in Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Faramir says, I do not love the bright sword for its sharpness, nor the arrow for its swiftness, nor the warrior for his glory. I love only that which they defend. And I feel like that is a more mature anti-war sentiment. I know Rachel is a much different character, kind of a much more flawed character.
She's more of a Boromir, honestly.
Yes, yeah. But I thought, like, I don't know. I think Lord of the Rings is also a very interesting anti-war book that comes at it from a different direction, where Tolkien has these long descriptions of like how beautiful the land and the countryside is, and like the traditions of its people and all that. And that's supposed to make you hate war, because war disrupts the land and it disrupts culture and it disrupts people. And this is a much more like boots on the ground. Here's why you should hate war. It's because your guts are going to be in your hands.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's well said. Like, off of what Kayla just said, too. I think Animorphs is a book series that is anti-war, but in the narrative, our protagonists have a very, like, martyr, PTSD complex of, like, we are sacrificing our lives, our teenage years, our everything for this greater cause that is morally right, and we're not all going to make it out of this, and this is almost kind of like a curse upon all of us. That maybe the very end of the book series has that level of like, war kind of sucks, huh? Like,
well, yeah. Can we talk? Okay, can we spoil a little bit and talk about the ending of Animorphs for a second? Because I think it's relevant.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
So I think why this is so impactful about Rachel specifically is at the end, she dies, and the Ellimist actually appears to her before she dies and is like, yo, listen to my gamer backstory, and tells her that, which I would hate to hear as I was dying. Like, first of all,
shut up, nerd.
I'm dying. I don't want to be lore dumped.
Yeah, it's awful. And so before she dies, she asks him, like, did anything I do matter? Like, did me going through literal hell and being this killer and being in this war, did it matter at all to the outcome? And he does tell her yes, but like she goes through her whole life like being like, this is the most important thing, and she's a warrior, and she like I said this to Chad the other day, but like she basically at a certain point looks at Jake, because Jake sends her basically on a suicide mission at the end.
Right.
And she says, yeah, because I'm the person that you asked to do the things you don't want to do, which is very Garrick of her in Deep Space Nine in the Pale Moonlight. Yeah. But, like, she just is like, yeah, that's just who I am. That's what I do. And then at the end, she has to, like, ask herself and ask God, essentially, like, did that even matter? Like, so she has to believe that the warriors are the most important people, because that's who she chose to be, and that's who she is.
Yeah. Rachel goes out mid-battle against, like, full Yeerk army, who all at that point have, like, stolen the Animorph technology, so they're turning into fucking animal forms.
Jesus.
And she goes out like a warrior, and I kind of... when I first read the finale as a kid, it was really bittersweet, and I think I kind of remember, like, I don't know if I like it, because it's dire. Like, the team is kind of split up, they're older, like... Jake and Marco are essentially like space commanders because the war is still going, and they're on a blade ship that is called the Rachel in memory of Rachel.
Oh God!
And like that's the only honor I mean, obviously her friends loved her and care about her, but that's how she's remembered, as a battleship. And like as a kid, I don't know why, I think I felt kind of like, oh, I really wanted the Star Wars thing where the Emperor dies and. You know, the Death Star blows up, but in this version of Kay Applegate's story...
We all sing Yub Nub with the Ewoks.
We all sing Yub Nub, and the Ewoks all hang out, and we all have a barbecue, but in Animorphs ended a lot more of like, yes, you maybe saved Earth, but it's not over, and you never really get the peace that you wanted. They're all kind of broken up from it.
Yeah, and it ends on that really sick note, because basically... they get in that blade ship and go to save Axe, who had like went on some mission and basically got absorbed into the Borg. And they find him in so you see the Andalites don't have mouths. And I remember this graphically, like they find him and his like face tears open into a mouth and he's like possessed by a Borg. and he's like
Oh, God, I
part of
forgot
some
about that,
larger
yeah.
consciousness, and it ends with them like running their ship into his.
Yeah, it ends on a giant cliffhanger of like Jake and Marco just doing, the bat ramming speed. Let's take that ship on, unknown if any of them live, and that's the end of the series.
Wow.
So all of that you're getting at, Kevin, I think, to give Applegate credit, I think is at least baked into like the background themes of the story. Even if this whole book had felt very much like USA, like there's. I read this whole thing through like these kids are just going through and seeing that despite timelines changing, like this all fucking sucks.
See, I'm not used to reading books with subtext and
Not for children, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a little bit much.
Yeah. I'm not used to subtlety in writing, I guess, because I think it's really incredible how these characters are written. All the gore and stuff kind of turns me off a little bit. Like all of just the suffering for suffering's sake kind of turns me off a bit. But I gotta say, I am actually really impressed with these books, with at least this book, for not talking down to a young reader and trying to get something really important into their minds, which is war is bad. If I can, if you come away with nothing else, I'm not going to be subtle about this. War is not a very good thing.
Totally. Yeah. We maybe skipped over the detail. I was re-impressed. I remembered, obviously, they run into Hitler and they have this whole conversation about should we kill him or not.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that they, as teenage kids, have a pretty well rationalized debate over like, we should kill this guy. And I think Cassie, because she's always kind of the soul of the team, is, or like, at least the ethics captain is like, guys, that's not Adolph. Like, that's a different guy. This is a different timeline. He hasn't done these things.
Yeah, you are what you do, not who you are, is where they
Who
live.
you are. There's part of me going like, well, if we're time traveling, maybe just be safe. We kill Hitler every time, just to be sure.
Just to be safe.
And that does happen. When the tank goes off from the grenade eagle maneuver, whoever is in Hork-Bajir form,
Tobias,
his arm blade slips and he just fucking decapitates Hitler as an oopsie.
I loved it. I loved it as an oopsie because it almost takes that choice away from our characters a little bit. And normally that would be an agency thing that I would want to see. But I appreciated that it almost being like, just like these things in wars, like accidents happen. There's friendly fire. The kids didn't get to come to a conclusion over what was the right thing to do. So maybe they fucked up. Like I really enjoyed that version of it.
I mean, just because he's not like the Fuhrer doesn't mean he isn't a fucking dickhead. So,
Yeah.
He's probably not going to lose too much sleep over accidentally killing alternate timeline Hitler.
But it was interesting how they questioned it, because they were like, well, so in that case, should we kill each other? Because we were all terrible people in that alternate future. So, are we, it isn't who you are, it's what you do that defines you, which I think is a great messaging for kids, because in this modern era, we're not who we say we are on social media. We are what we do. It was just, I remember this being very impactful. It was an interesting conclusion to come to.
Yeah, there's a line in BoJack Horseman where BoJack says to, I think it's Diane, but it says to Diane, "But you think I'm a good person, right? Deep down." And she says, "I don't think there is a deep down. I think there's just the stuff you do."
Yeah. And
he says, "Well, that's depressing."
That should be the catchphrase of BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, I love that show.
It's very, very good.
I unabashedly love that show. But like, yeah, this is another framing of there is no deep down, and there is no like intrinsicness to people. It's just you are what you do. If you genocide a whole bunch of people, it's not good. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah. So these kids have all been scarred mentally even more than they could have been forever. They saw they dropped the bird bombs on the tank that Visser 4 is in, and I think Visser 4 is like is dead from the waist down. Very, very vivid.
Yeah, he's crushed. He's crushed from the waist down by the truck that flips over. And the Yeerk is like, "Okay, bye. See you later, folks." And the Yeerk abandoned ship. And I thought this was a little reckless, but I think it's Tobias or Marco like picks up the Yeerk slug and just throws it in a burning car.
And I'm like, maybe make sure he's dead, just so he doesn't, crawl into like some ferryman.
Well, no, because they said nobody wanted to kill him, which I thought was really interesting because they like hand him around like a little slice of pizza, and they're like, "Who wants to kill him?" And everybody's like, "No." And so Marco's just like, "Well, you either are gonna burn alive or you'll starve because they don't have any yerk pools. He wouldn't have a yerk pool to go back into." So they're like, "Good luck."
That's true. That's right. Yeah, even if he had stayed down there, he would be fucked because the yerks aren't there to establish their food source.
Yeah, they'd have like they eat radiation of some kind or something.
Yeah, they have to swim in this like these pools that are like built underground, hidden everywhere. There's something in the material of the pools that they like. Yerks have to like leave every like 2 weeks or something and swim in there for a little bit. So there's this really barbaric thing. This book series is so fucked. I love it. We're like. The kids witness this several times in the yerk pools where like the human host with the yerk in it walks to this like pier, and then Hork-Bajir basically like hold them down to the pool. The yerk drops out, like ploops out like a poop into the pool. The human then has temporary recontrol of their body, so they're just screaming and like, "Let me free!" and they can't do anything, and they're put in cages while their owner takes a nice swim until they're brought back to be repossessed. It's really fucked up.
I also remember them describing, for some reason, like a yerk going in and out of your brain as extremely painful. Because it's like going through your ear canal.
Yeah.
And I just vividly remember that. Like, ugh, it seems like it would hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't burrow in like a lot of brain parasite things. It can squeeze itself into like the folds of your brain, basically, which is even more terrifying.
Blech.
So Berryman, I really like this moment rereading it of Berryman, who's now Berryman, acclaimed actor,
acclaimed failed actor Berryman,
who gets like some time with the kids as he's dying. Like he was obviously like processing all of this. I think he has like a moment where like because he's had Visser in his head for so long, he's like, the Yerks fucking hate you guys. They think you're like they think you're like an anti-light raiding party. You're just some kids. Like, you guys are the heroes. Like, it was just a really kind of nice way of like getting someone to, I guess, remark on your silent war that it's making waves.
Yeah, it's always nice to meet a fan.
Crushed beneath the truck.
Hey, I know you. So they're all talking to Berryman, and they found out that he was like doing his own form of resistance by doing Henry V at Visser 4 to like drive him insane, and that's why they went to Agincourt and all that. And I think Rachel is like, "Hey, how'd your parents meet?" And he's like, "Excuse me?"
Yeah. Cassie has the great idea to like, hold on, I can fix all of this, and ask for the details.
Because they want their friend back and they want to put all of history right. So what they ask is, how did your parents meet, when and where? And he's like, oh, you guys are going to debirth me? You guys are going to delete me from ever existing? That sounds great. Yeah, go for it. It's no way the Yerk will just jump into another brain or whatever. Or, I don't know. Like,
but I think that's where it comes in, where he had the knowledge, like that. Yeah. So he knew where it was. Yeah,
that's where I think the crazy coincidence of this one human happened to have found a time machine. So it was bad luck for humanity and the Andalites that this Yerk went in his body and knew this thing. Like, as long as Berryman doesn't exist, they could have also just made Berryman exist and then, like, keep him from finding that thing, the time matrix. Yeah. But instead they're like, we're just going to make you never exist.
Yeah, they could have just been like, wait, where's the time matrix? We'll move it before you find it. Like, that way you can still live.
It's way more fun to just ruin two hippies' date in San Francisco in the 60s.
Yeah, they show up with a sparkly time orb and they distract some hippies and they never fuck to create. or maybe they do fuck. It's just they're on different. It's a different sperm that gets to the egg. Or
as long as it's a different sperm, it's a different Berryman. Yeah.
So Berryman never gets to exist because his parents never meet. And everyone's like, yes, high fives all around. We've done it. And our good friend Jake is back and he's like, what's up? Last I heard, I was getting shot by a Hessian. And they're like, oh, Jake, you fool.
It's That's just how it is on a typical day being an Animorph, and they all high five. War crime.
Does anyone have the time? Ha ha ha. War crimes.
That's pretty much the book.
That's the fuck. It ends super abruptly.
Well, they have, like, and the interesting thing is, like, when they go back to disrupt John Berryman's parents, I think, is that when they have the discussion where they're like, well, we should keep the time matrix and go fix everything. Like,
Yeah.
we could prevent Hitler from doing anything. We could fix everything. And they have this, like, big debate, and then it ends up working out anyway, where they accidentally disrupted his parents when they were pausing to think about it. But I think that was an interesting debate where they were just like, well, is that moral? Like, can we do that? And how can you know what you're doing is right or wrong? Because how do we know that us disrupting the past already didn't make a better future? Because we didn't go and look and see. So, it was
but like, they're really like doing they're following Visser 4's logic of, if you kill Hitler, like, Nazi Germany doesn't exist. Like, there are still other Nazis.
Yeah.
Like, they probably would have just rallied around a different guy. Like, I reject this idea that I personally have this idea. There are no load-bearing historians. I came up with this idea myself. No one else thinks this. I've come up with it. But like, yeah, I think they sort of dodge the sort of navel-gazy, like, what is history and what is time, by just being like, nope, hippies don't meet, time sphere never occurs. Back to getting pizza with the boys.
Getting Taco Bell.
Getting Taco Bell.
Which having just seen probably the events of D-Day firsthand, I get why these kids are like, we're just going to try to bury this down literally deep and not talk about time ever again.
Well, and during the whole thing, remember when Axe had this, like, question of character where he was like, actually, I hate humans. They're terrible. And, like, he goes in this whole mental battle with himself where he gets really depressed and he doesn't want to help anymore because, like, humans suck.
Yeah, he's like, humans are racist and they kill people? Well, I'm racist and I kill people, but I hate humans.
It was a wild ride. And as a side note, backtracking, this has been on my mind the whole conversation. But if this was written now, do you think John Berryman would have just, like, sang Hamilton songs to annoy the Yeerk, and then the Yeerk would want to go back and kill Lin-Manuel Miranda instead?
Totally.
I think that's what it would have been.
He's going to waste his shot if I have anything to say about it.
Oh!
I think Visser 4 would have probably gone insane a lot faster with the constant Hamiltoning. It is catchy.
There'd be like some sort of like, I'm going to find the guy that came up with the Baby Shark song and murder him.
Oh no! Visser 4 tries to stop rap from happening. That's a way cool.
That would be an interesting series of events. I would
love if he was like, I'm going to stop rock and roll, but then is a white guy, so the white guy's understanding of rock and roll is like Elvis. Yeah. And not the people that actually invented rock and roll.
They're like, wait,
decades before.
A different white guy just stole rock and roll. How does this keep happening?
Or what if he wanted to stop rock and roll and he ends up going back and he actually creates it because he gets
my God,
so into it.
Your cousin Marvin Elfangor. You know that new sound you've been looking for? I don't even know if that reference makes sense. I would say that's a good place to wrap up this book. Yeah. Because we could talk about the ethics of war and teen soldiers a lot more. Kevin, thank you for diving into one of the thickest lore dumps of recent memory.
I think it's safe to say I now understand Animorph lore perfectly.
Great. That's what we were hoping for.
Good.
Kayla, thank you for joining us on revisiting this Animorph story that I think you and I had been talking about offline for a while. Just remember that time they ran into Hitler?
It's so good. Thank you for letting me join in on this.
Yeah, Kayla, thanks so much for being on. This was really fun. And thank you for explaining Animorphs to me.
You're welcome.
I kind of think I actually might pick up another Animorphs book. Maybe on this podcast.
Yeah.
You should, and they take like no time to read. I encourage anyone, like it took me like maybe 3 hours max to read this book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I might start at the beginning where I hear it's a little more marshmallowy. Not like compared to this book.
Yeah, it starts off slower. The kids actually discovering stuff. I am very fond. I as I was reading this, I was like, in an alternate timeline, when I first reached out about starting this podcast, we were an Animorphs podcast, and it'd be a very different show. And I am glad we cover R.L. Stine's nightmares, but also it is very refreshing to dive into, like you said, there's subtext.
Oh yeah,
and character plots and arcs. Oh boy, how refreshing!
Speaking of refreshing. Do you guys have a cool and refreshing thing you want to promote on this podcast?
I was going to say, you know what lore isn't super complicated and easy to get into is Wrestling with Demons.
Whoa.
The Rite of Rumble. Comic that Kayla already mentioned earlier on, but we are within the last week or so of our Indiegogo campaign to fund the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
It is a love letter that Kayla and I have done, is towards indie wrestling and eldritch adventure. I think calling it Hellboy meets WrestleMania is a very good descriptive term for it.
Mm-hmm.
Following the story of a mysterious stranger known as the Stranger,
nice,
and his possessed belt that is a demon that fight eldritch horrors in an apocalypse version of 1990s. Kind of relevant also to what we read on Goosebumps.
I am
or Goosebuds.
So excited. I'm so excited for this series. It's everything I like.
Oh, thanks, Kayla's done some beautiful, amazing art for it.
Mm-hmm.
We also are trying to unlock bonus covers. We already have bonus covers for stretch rewards unlocked by the amazing artists Ed Scudder and Holly Conrad, who we already mentioned earlier was on this podcast. And if you want to check it out, Kayla, where should people go?
You can go to disconnectordie.com, and it's linked there. And also if you just go to Indiegogo in the comics section, but I actually don't recommend that because there's a lot of weird stuff on there. So maybe just go to disconnectordie.com and you'll be linked to it from there.
Consider pledging towards Wrestling with Demons. You can get access to the PDF, digital version. We're doing physical print copies for comic book stores or people who want to buy a batch. And there's some also very cool extra rewards as well.
Custom wrestler art.
Yeah, Kayla's still got a couple slots open for getting your own custom wrestler Sona set in the Wrestling with Demons universe. And if you're cool with it, might end up being in the comic.
Whoa.
Yeah. Cool stuff there. So take a look at it.
Yes, and we have the Discord. If you pledge at the $10 or above tier, I will send you an email that will hopefully not go to your spam folder so you can join the Discord. We've been having that struggle. I am sorry. My email address is long. I'm getting a new one. So yeah, you'll get to join the Discord. And we've been talking about the pay-per-view tomorrow in there. So that's been pretty fun. We've been talking about wrestling and all kinds of things. So awesome. If you like wrestling, we have a good time.
Kayla, where can we find you specifically on the internet if we want to go looking for more of your wonderful work?
Oh, first of all, maybe not. It would be a bad time. Just kidding. I'm fun. I'm a good person. I actually finally got my name URL back from the bots. So you can go to kaylacline.com, which is KAYLACLINE. Or you can find me on social media at KAYNCLI, which is just my name all mashed together. So
nice. Chad, what about you?
I'm online on some social media, Twitter at Quantum Theory, QUANDTUM Theory. And you should check out, besides Wrestling with Demons, Star Trek Prodigy is on Paramount Plus Sign.
Yeah, it rules.
It's coming later this year. Kevin, what about you?
I'm on Twitter. I'm Kevin. I'm the one that talked like this all episode. I'm on Twitter. I am at Real Kevin Cole. And if you follow me, you'll get to hear the things that I think.
Nice.
That's a very honest pitch. I think this episode's been a blast. Kayla, thank you so much for joining us. Kevin, thank you for tipping your toes into the Animorphs pool. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. This episode of Goosebuds is brought to you by our wonderful Patreon supporters, and they are in the Book of Names.
The Book of Names, which we have randomized for this particular reading.
Oh, there used to be a set order to it. Maybe you could figure it out, but now it's random.
You don't know where your name's gonna be.
Starting with Ryan Carroll,
Greg Musto,
Limp Duck,
Andre Villanueva,
Hollis Hornbeak,
Streak,
Hey Josh Robb,
Michael McDowell,
Low Belly Hate Me,
Juan Jalapena,
Dennis Wright,
Germ Juice,
Soggy Newspapers,
Afsheen,
Daryl Flynn.
Wiggle It. Man, I already didn't expect to wiggle it right there. This is
I know,
fun.
the Wiggle It came out of nowhere. Justin Wagman,
Peter McGregor.
Something I Love Broccoli. Hey, pause for a second. I gotta get Paul off.
Oh no, he got Paul off the podcast.
Got Paul off the book of names.
Reed Stubendeek,
Scotty Pippen,
Reinfected,
Tom Whittam,
Lord Cornwallis,
Jacob Rogers,
Jover the Moon,
Chris Putricus,
Dakota Kemp,
Thomas Jansis,
Anthony Rodriguez,
The Crowfeds,
Matthew Stevens,
Tanya Turtle,
Matt Septor,
Esteminia, Lord of Paul's Pants.
Lord over an empty realm,
Oh, those pants just sit there in a void with no butts to fill them.
Jeremy Bowser,
Shuddering Stephen,
Yeah,
Lucretia MacEvil,
Christian Vanskiver,
Skelefella,
Dr. Diarrhea,
A Pair of Scots,
Coleman Lagusa,
Brendan Arafin,
John W.,
Mickey C.,
Adam Muth,
Michael Kupka,
Cardboard Walk,
Jar Jar Slinks.
Andrew Jadzik agrees UHF is better than Back to the Future. Hell yeah.
Whoa! I don't know if that had one of us said that
I
already.
did.
I mean,
I did.
Okay, I guess so. Sure.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Andrew.
know so. Thanks, Andrew.
Devaldi,
Kumo Jackoff,
Dungeon Kappa,
Carewise Gamgee,
Matthew Britato,
Spencer Y,
Joe Regular Name Scott,
Matt Skellerman,
some of Chad's bird friends.
Oh.
I just heard them screaming.
Yay, Brookex,
Bjarndir,
Flemily has BDE, Big Dwarf Energy,
Cameron Hansen,
Brad Schmelzer,
Girthworm Jim.
Wagmar Wigmere,
Hey Eric, it's gonna be all right. You're doing a great job.
even though you didn't expect to be in this spot, Eric.
Yeah,
The randomized list is crazy right now.
in all worlds and all timelines, you're doing a great job, Eric.
Maloyster,
Kiwi of Lerv,
Lee Wood,
Kelly C,
Dango Twiss,
Trent Davis.
Robert Allen Cook III is back,
Whoa! Russell Kasberg,
Nathan Gurney,
Jeremy Lowe,
When Dragons Rule,
Sarah Kemp,
Dan,
Evan Bowen,
Levi Than,
John Pigeon Hat Barber,
Dr. Eggdrop Soupman,
Zach Snyder,
Redemption,
Mike Linteri,
Miguel Pardo,
Calf.
Ernie, Burgers Bumpy World, Ernie, Ernie.
Is that how you're doing the tildes? I love it.
Yeah, I think that's how Strong Bad pronounces them.
Ah, good.
Yes.
You know, it's also good. Jason Crooker.
Oh, Rum Daddy.
Hey, Bryce Diori.
Generally depressing.
Aiden Alexander Dice.
Cameron Murphy Audio.
John Keaty.
Jonas Blatterman.
SSJ Trogdor.
Trogdor. Henry Torbert.
Jesus Christ.
Gekenti.
Stephen Day.
Brian Hobgood.
Odin's _ Eyehole.
Peanutberg level 69.
Liam Rogers.
Matthew Sutton.
Ham _ Boat.
Nicholas Maloney.
Elusive Koala.
Robert Moon.
Timothy Misodolakis.
Ali Safe.
Serial Killer X.
Calamity Carl.
Lamb.
That one got me. Jeffrey Owen Cahy.
The John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation.
Chicago Frank.
Zambambino.
Jackie Ledoux.
Brian Wells.
MC Hamster.
Megan McCormick Mason.
Josh Howell.
Cody Redfield.
Ben Bohan.
Julian Lamendia.
Hood Lemon.
Ninja Breadmen.
Jimmy Soul.
Ryan R. Davis.
Llama Lad.
Meet Virginia.
Dom's Dirty Download Donger.
Maddie.
Third Sergio.
Nathan Dolzal.
Joe.
Zankeith.
David Gray.
Anne Marie.
Levi Kidder.
Eric K.
Greg Gervasi, a.k.a. Vidazen.
What's up?
Hey, buddy.
Mandy Nasty.
David Lynch, XXX. Brendan Fraser, 666.
Mel Dipson.
Zach Bentley.
Alex Moon, the robotic dog.
Scott Wabble.
Chip Handsome.
Moon Juice.
Jonas Engman.
Xavier Jimenez.
Paul Grasso.
Carson Birkenbean.
Murph EP,
Alan Saylor,
Elm Realm,
Carbson,
Vosivi,
Alecade,
Skullatorin,
Danky McStanky,
Drew Applegate,
Kit Bush,
Parker Lee,
Alicia Grafe,
Uncle Cool Brother,
Kieran McNamara.
Zach Connor.
I don't know, guys. I can't think of anything witty. My name's Kevin. My dad was an extra in the Avengers.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome, actually.
Tell us more stories about it through your Patreon name.
I love that.
Patreon_donator, yo.
Adam Knapp,
Joe Spooky Digital Ghost Tierney,
Eric Horwitz,
Brett.
Mr. Unimportant.
I think you're pretty important. Got little old moi, pretty French.
Ched will make more paranoia. Shop the third.
Bradford Coulter,
Raymond Hernandez,
Clay McCarty,
Midwest Indigo 13.
Mutant Astronaut,
Tevin Ticklebean is your new best friend.
Pizza Bagel Rocco.
Stuff Bates,
Get back in the book of names, Zentacles. You can't escape.
Stefan Jive Turkey Kuwabara. Wow, really deep in the list for once.
How's it feel, Stefan? I don't know we're bullying Stefan.
Yeah,
Mike Spaghetti Jones,
Diet Soda,
Keith Halcrow,
Dom Sexy Ghost, aka Captain Sick,
Kelsey Kinnaman,
Liam Newsonstow,
Hugh Bolin,
Kenny M,
Adam Ya Goofed,
Milk Punk,
Sean Minogue,
Carl,
Alan G. Jussum,
Check,
Logan Derby,
Tiffany Lee,
Matt McKellen,
Vincent Modica,
Jonas Evan Volson,
Philip Reynolds,
Joey Evans,
Cameron Ganzeveld,
Yanni Markovina,
Dakota Kipper,
Patrick Reynolds,
Chili Dish Gambino,
976 Evil,
Luke Canoodles,
Sniggy,
Ishak Arifin,
Nathan Remick,
Dr. Chocula,
Wormtown Glenn.
Benjamin Luther. I just wanted to do your voice. It was fun. I liked it.
Oh, thanks, man. Likewise. Zach Weir,
Buddy Morrill.
Turaku, maybe.
Oh. Edgar's Crassus?
B.
Chris.
Gregory D. Warren,
Up and Champ.
Chosen One,
Clay Castle.
Mr. Misfire,
Tobias Clark.
Nick Johnson.
The Davy Boy is the last name in our book.
Thank you all so very, very much. We love you all. Even Paul, who is in a void right now.
Yeah.
He'll be back
He's
soon.
not dead. I lied. He's alive. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.